So this is a follow-up video regarding some stuff I spoke about yesterday. I'm going to be discussing the rise of the far right in Germany and how our politicians have let us down and allowed this to happen. So, yes, on Sunday the German elections were held, and the AfD far right party came second in the poll with about 20% of the vote. The centre-right Christian Democratic Union Party approximately got about 30% of the vote and came first. And the currently ruling Socialist Democratic Party, centre-left, came third, even behind the far right. So that's quite worrying. We had this trend in about 10 years ago in the UK, where we had the BNP winning a lot of council election seats and getting the right also to have party political broadcasts on national television for free. Now that's not good. That wasn't good, but it was sort of countered by the rise of the Brexit and UKIP party, now the Reform Party, which sort of diverted those voters to more of a softer right platform. So why is this happening? Well, it's simple. The public are seeing that the politicians, the moral hypocrisy of the champagne socialist politicians, who are just shitting all over them with liberalism, not countering migration where illegal criminals are allowed into the country and allowed to stay there, what's happening in the UK now, and rather than countering that and taking some action like Trump is in America, we're just allowing it to continue. And good citizens are seeing that the primary duty of their governments to protect them is not being fulfilled. There's no law and order, no accountability. Policing is shit, not due to police officers themselves or the organisation, but due to them being burdened and diverted to matters that aren't really for law enforcement agencies, more for social care, health, welfare organisations, and policing resources are sort of being still diverted heavily towards that. So they're seeing a lot of foreign migrants in the country, straggling around, hanging around in their neighbourhoods where they used to feel safe. They're seeing their own local criminals hanging around, the people they know are offenders. They're seeing violent crime a lot amongst the youth going unchecked. No severe sentencing, knife crime, always on the news, always the government saying about this, that, and some bloody fucking amnesty, and how to divert the youth, and all these social action groups saying about stop and search and complaining about that and saying we need to understand what the youth need, they're bored. Well, fuck that, right? I was bored when I was young. I went and played football, hockey, and got a job as a student. So, not having that at all. The problem is, in this country, there's no deterrent. I've seen on the news recently a whole segment dedicated to some issue about, which I mentioned earlier in a blog, about black males being 70% more likely to be released on tag for committing knife crime, but released on tag, on license, rather than being kept in prison. And they're complaining about it, moaning about it. And there's a social action group formulated with a retired magistrate leading it, about this issue, and some black offenders on the news saying how they feel humiliated, embarrassed and dirty having to wear a tag. Well, you should be in fucking prison, dude, not outside. Count your bloody blessings. In this country you're allowed to be outside after committing knife crime, whether it's actually attacking someone or carrying a knife, but you're on the streets. You shouldn't be on the streets. And this is where the balance has tipped, and why people like Trump in America and these far right parties are gaining populism, because they say they're not going to tolerate this anymore, and that's what the public want to hear. We're allowing people to complain for being on tag, not in prison. We're allowing anybody into the country. There's zero. There's zero law enforcement when it comes to any petty crime at all. The police ain't got the resources to turn up. It starts, like I said before, from illegal parking outside police stations, street corners, junctions. No police officers around to check these people. The public are seeing people can do what they like, race down the streets, speeding offences, dangerous driving, everything going on, antisocial behaviour, drug dealing, visible drug dealing, smoking cannabis in public is the norm now. Okay, so if you go back to New York in the 1990s, where they had broken windows policing as a policy, every crime from a broken window was investigated and offenders were caught and held accountable. Here, go into a shop, pick up what you like, security guard will stand there and just take what you like. Not even a rush. Take your time, put it in your bag and walk out. Now these aren't starving people, these are like youths and people that are going for technology, techie items, phones, etc. But also, just general household goods which aren't a necessity. So it's just a piss take, but again, no accountability. So look at Germany and look at the rise of the far right in Western Europe. Why is it happening? Like you've got Meloni or whatever her name is in Italy. Borderline far right party, anti-immigration stance party, who's actually deporting the Albanians back to Albania, because there's a lot of Albanians also in Italy, and they like to take the Italian names as their actual names and come over to Britain as well. So they're taking action. So in Germany, just it's quite interesting. The bulk of the AfD far-right vote, to be honest, 99% of it is in the former East Germany, where it was neglected a bit, but they have formulated a strong opinion in that vast span of territory that they are not going to put up with this anymore. They're not the liberal left or the loony left. They want law enforcement. They want ethical, moral values in their society. And they're not seeing that when their society is flooded, and I say flooded, by unknown, foreign, illegal migrants and criminals. And they're seeing the demographics of their society change, the social order of their society change, just like we are here in Britain. We go to areas and we see, I don't even recognise what country I'm in. I want integration. I don't want multiculturalism. That doesn't work. People don't want that. They want integration. They want all cultures and faiths to be respected. And they're not seeing that happen. They're seeing, I didn't come to Britain. My parents didn't come to Britain to make it into a village from Pakistan. They came to Britain because they appreciated and valued the British values. You go to these countries like Pakistan, India, North Africa, the Arab countries. There's no, law and order. There's no rule of law. No separation of powers. Corrupt leaders, dictators, corrupt politicians. Judiciary is not independent. And so the values that we have here, is what my parents and people's grandparents came here for. But now this third or fourth generation is turning that into a shithole, trying to bring the village into the civilized world. So, what's the indigenous population seeing? Hang on, we don't want this. We've already got our own shits anyway. Now we're getting this cultural change. So rather than immigrants and third generations and migrants, etc., valuing and assimilating, but keeping their own beliefs, quite rightly, but appreciating what they've got, they're trying to change it, and they're antagonising people who are seeing their ways of life change. You imagine if John Smith from here, blues fan or Villa fan, goes to Pakistan and says, right, or goes to India, or goes to North Africa, Morocco, wherever, and says, or to Albania, and says, you know what, I'm going to walk down Lahore High Street in my Bermuda shorts without a top on, swigging a can of lager, because that's my culture. they're going to bloody kick his head in. And imagine hundreds of thousands of John Smiths suddenly appearing in Lahore, Rawalpindi, Karachi, Albania, Tirana, whatever fucking shitholes, and you know, in Rabat in Morocco. Mind you, they are there tourists, aren't they? So you get my gist. In Somalia, in Mogadishu, do you know what I mean? In Yemen, in Kosovo, they ain't gonna like it. You imagine someone from Nigeria walking down Islamabad in their bloody loincloth, or Togo, you know, and, you know, body and show. How would they like it? So it's about assimilation, integration, and that's what the point of this blog is, that it's not about prejudice or racism, it's about realism, understanding how did we end up here. The bloody Keir Starmers of this world, the liar lawyers who used to defend violent criminal sexual offenders from being deported for money, they defend them, and now they sit here because our shameless electorate trusted them. That's how we ended up here.